and I liked
Right.
Bo Nix more. So I watched him at Oregon and at Auburn, and I thought with Sean Payton it was going to work. One of the things that I'm always impressed with him is that when it's a ball out into the flat, and it can be to Mims, Sutton, Harvey, anybody, he puts that ball right out in front so the receiver, the pass catcher, catches it running. They don't have to wait for it. It's not a lollipop. It's very Brady. It is a tight spiral, and that's an underrated skill. He is really accurate, like 8-9 yards, just bang, bang, very crisp. He was great against Cincinnati. What does the film say on Bo Nix?
Well, it's funny you say that because 95% of run after catches on the quarterback, not on the receiver. You just have to go back to Bill Walsh for that. We all know that if you watch tape. It's funny you mentioned Nix. The first couple of weeks of this season, he struggled. He was not getting clear pictures. He reacted to pressure that wasn't there. Sometimes it looked like he was inventing pressure. He just didn't play well through the first 2 weeks, which sometimes happens with a second-year quarterback, particularly after they've had success as a rookie. But the last 2 weeks, he started to play better, and I thought against Cincinnati, he clearly had his best game. And I think he's a really solid player. You know me, I don't get caught up in is he top 5, top 6. I don't get caught up in that. But I think he's starting to play a little more comfortably, a little more calmly, and I think that with Sean Payton, he gets set up in good situations. And if you want, we can go right to the play of the week because it's going to be Bo Nix. And it's just, to me, an example of really good coaching. It's the touchdown he threw, which we're actually looking at right now. We'll see it. It's the touchdown he threw this past week to Cortland Sutton. And to me, this, again, is just a really good example of coaching and how you set up plays. And this is Nix in an empty set. So what is he looking at? He's looking at a post safety. Okay, he sees a single high safety, and what does he see across the board? Looks like man-to-man across the board. So what's the route concept here? And it's a great route concept for this look. It's 5 verticals. They're going to run 5 verticals. So the matchup we want to focus on, of course, is Cortland Sutton versus the corner. That happens to be Dax Hill. So now what you really want to do here is you want to create distance between the post safety and the corner that's playing Sutton. That's what you're trying to do. So how do you do that? You do it with your receiver, with Sutton, who will widen his vertical stem. He wants to move the corner and expand the corner. That's what he's trying to do. But then the other part of this is going to be on Bo Nix, and we'll see that from the end zone. He's got to control the safety because he's got to create the passing window. And you can see it from this angle. You'll see as he drops back that his head is looking first to the left, then down the middle, and you can see the safety subtly slide into the middle of the field. So it creates distance to create the passing window. These are the subtleties of playing quarterback in the NFL that have to become second nature. Because otherwise, if you don't control that safety, he just slides right there and you don't have the throw. These are the little things you learn and that become second nature as you play the position at the NFL level.
And this is why I kept saying after this game, I don't care that it was just against the Cincinnati Bengals, that when you watch how Bo Nix was playing specifically, doesn't matter whether it's the Bengals, doesn't matter whether it's the Chiefs, what he's doing is great. What he's doing is growth, development, and downright special. So that is, I'm so happy that Greg Cosell, really highlighted that. And I think it's so it's so interesting because they're coming up now on a really tough game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I honestly have no idea how this game is going to go right now because the Eagles have obviously been a great team. They're not playing as great as they want to be playing necessarily. But they are obviously still beating great teams, and they're still getting the job done. Whether it's the Rams, whether it's the Bucks, whether it's the Chiefs, etc., etc. We know this Broncos defense has been great, but you know that this Broncos offense is going to need to really elevate. But the Rams have an awesome offense, and the Eagles were able to just completely shut them down in the second half. They got theirs a bit in the first half, but they were able to get completely shut down, and special teams, of course, rising to the occasion as well. And so I don't have a strong sense of how this game is going to go between the Eagles and the Broncos. And when I don't have a strong sense of an outcome, I think to myself then, okay, well then what am I looking for then? What am I looking for? And if I'm going to answer that question specifically with the Broncos, it's just I want to feel that the Broncos can hang in this game, and they need to play a clean game. It needs to be. I mean, I feel that way for pretty much any game, but you have to understand that you are now going up against the Super Bowl champions. You are going up against the team that just keeps winning and winning and winning. I'm not going to put this all on the plate of Bo Nix and the Broncos to be like, you got to find a way to beat the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Week 5, you got to find a way to beat them. Like, I'm not going that far right now, and that won't tell me whether or not the Broncos are a great team or not. I don't get wrapped up into that in the same way that Greg Cosell doesn't get wrapped up in who's top 5, who's top 6, whatever. But what I need to see is that when the Broncos are playing, that they're organized, that they're composed, that if the game is close, it's not accidental. It's not accidental. Okay, because you can see the differences that when the great teams play each other, of course, you're still going to have some penalties. Of course, you're going to have some drop pass. You're going to have those moments, but you can still see like, yeah, that's just the flow of the game. Those things just kind of happen. But then you can see other teams that just fundamentally, maybe they're great, maybe they're successful, but like they're just not ready for. We saw that with the Ravens, many games, quite frankly, but even just recently against the Chiefs. Even though, yeah, they're banged up, it doesn't matter. They were fundamentally not ready to play. Lamar Jackson was not ready to play. That game plan, the approach that they were taking, nobody was ready. And it was like, quite frankly, it was disgraceful. I mean, like it is. It's like, I find it indefensible. I find it absolutely indefensible. And even a game that got really muddled between the Rams and the Eagles, you could still tell, hey, the Rams are there. The Rams are there. They're ready to answer their call. Now, again, obviously the Eagles are the ones that are being chased, and you can point out to a lot of the issues that the Eagles are having right now. But at the end of the day, the Eagles can do it. You know that they can achieve it because they obviously have a young team, up-and-coming team, Broncos, young quarterback. They need to be able to start to really set the foundation of we can hang, we can be there. And it's not a matter of just relying on big plays, putting up points, shutting down a defense. It's, are you buttoned up? This is a game that you gotta be buttoned up, that you gotta be ready for. You gotta come out the gate, right? Like you gotta be ready. That first drive that you get, your first drive, it can't be one of those weird 3 and outs where you're like, oh gosh, it's 3 and 15 right now, 3rd and 15. Like, how did this just happen right now, right? Like you can't have that. I forget what team I was watching. And it was like the opening drive, there was, even the Broncos, I'm pretty sure, last Monday. I think they called a timeout on the opening drive, if memory serves me correctly. Like, you can't have that. I mean, I respect the timeout and appreciate the maturity and the confidence that Bo Nix would be like, oh, we're just calling a timeout here. I appreciate that, but like, those are the little things. It's like, you can't do that against the Chiefs. You can't do that against the Bills. You can't do that against the Eagles. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. So it's like these are some of those little things that I'm especially looking for. Because I expected the Eagles should be able to make this hard, for Bo Nix in this offense. I expect that the Eagles' offense should be able to find ways to put up points. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP. You got Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae, etc. I expect that. I expect them to find their ways through it. I expect them to also have moments when they fail, and the Broncos succeed in those moments. But the other things that are really, really ultimately in their control is how prepared are you ready for this game? Because this is a crucial moment for this Broncos team. This is a crucial test for this Broncos team. And like I've said now throughout the season, unfortunately, because they dropped a couple of games that they should not have dropped, a game like this puts so much more pressure on them. And like I've kept saying in my previous videos, this game should have been able to be like, yeah, we can drop this game and it's okay. Doesn't mean that we can't hang. Doesn't mean that we're not good enough. Doesn't mean that we can't beat teams this great in the future. But like, you have to take the pressure off of like, gotta win. And again, unfortunately, the Broncos burned that card, especially by losing to the Colts more than anything, but even the Chargers, honestly. Because very, very right now, the Broncos could be in the lead for the division, especially now that the Chargers are starting to just get decimated with injuries. And so like, that's, the Broncos dug themselves in a little bit of a hole. And there's the potential now to be, I don't want to say that they're in a bigger hole by losing to a team like the Eagles, but it just, it just puts you on your back foot. And since you've already lost a couple tough games, losing to a team like the Eagles just starts to reinforce of like, God, we're not good enough right now. When in reality, if you came away with those wins earlier and you lose to the Eagles, as long as it's a close game, as long as you don't get blown away, you still have the feeling of like, we're right there. And even if you still lose a close game here, I still will believe you're right there. But it will take overtime from the coaching staff to let everyone know we're right there. We're right there. But we are what our record is right now, and we got to be better. Like it's just the meetings change and the practices change and the energy change. And so like these are just the ways that I'm looking at a game like this right now. And obviously, if you pull off the win, you end up beating the Eagles. Let me just tell you right off the bat, it will without a doubt, be all about the Eagles losing rather than the Denver Broncos winning. Just the way it's going to work. It's just, if the Broncos end up winning this game, it'll be what's wrong with Philly's offense. It's not going to be how good the Denver Broncos defense is. And you can't even get upset about that because the Philadelphia Eagles are obviously Super Bowl champions and their offense hasn't been as great. People have been talking about what's wrong with Philadelphia since last year, quite frankly. So it's not even a personal claim about the Denver Broncos. So I'm just warning Broncos fan base right now, whether you dominate this game or you win a close game, it will 100% be what's wrong with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just the way it works, man. It's just heavy is the head that wears the crown. But you'll take that over not winning at all, obviously. But I'm excited for this game. I'm excited to see what Bo Nix looks like against a team that is, that's bona fide, but not playing their best. Like, that's what makes this game so tricky to me. Because I've both been impressed by the Philadelphia Eagles, as well as also, like, definitely being the type of person who's like, yeah, they're winning and they are clearly a great team, but, like, they do need to play better, and they do need to not win games the way they've been winning them, etc., etc. And so I'm looking at this so much more through the lens of a Broncos perspective, and I want to see how comfortable this team top to bottom, start to finish, left to right, looks like against this Philadelphia Eagles team, against a team that we know at the heart of this roster just won the Super Bowl. And we see that this offense hasn't been able to pop as much as they would want, right? And does the defense for the Broncos, are they able to reinforce that? Right? Or is this the game where now, like, Saquon Barkley goes off and A.J. Brown and Devontae go off, right? Like, and the problem with that is like, that'll feel extra pain for the Broncos because this Broncos team is a great defense and this offense hasn't, popped for the Eagles. But at the same time, it's still a top offense in the NFL as well. So, like, it's just... This game is it's hard to predict how to unpack it because we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I'm just planting the flag right now. It's going to be messy to unpack. I'm telling you right now, this game, no matter what happens, up, down, left, right, great win, bad win, ugly loss, doesn't matter. It's going to be tricky to unpack, which I love. I love mess. I love messes to unpack. It's my favorite part about talking sports is the after the outcome, not trying to make predictions. It's the out, we just saw the game. What does this mean? What the heck just happened? And being comfortable that, even if the Broncos have a huge win and they win big, being comfortable saying, Broncos, that was a great win. But let's be clear here. This Philadelphia Eagles team is a mess. This Kansas City Chiefs team is a mess, whatever it may be, which fans don't always love to hear. And if you lose, but you're like, hey, you know what? This was actually a really good game. Like when the Broncos lost against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs, I'm like, listen, there's actually a lot to really like here. Like, yeah, you got beat pretty good, which is why I always push back when Nick was like, well, then the Broncos got destroyed because they're clearly not that good of a team. I was like, that's not really how that game unfolded. So I love the nuance. I live to play in the weeds with all this type of stuff. So a game like this, the more I think about it, the more I realize this is going to be so messy to unpack. I'm here for it. So I'm excited for it. Just trying to let the Broncos fans know ahead of time what you're in store for because, it's going to be messy. It's going to be messy. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Denver Broncos? and Bo Nix, how he's been playing, how he's been getting better, both sides of the ball for this offense and defense for the Broncos, and what they have in store for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.